Hey y'all, it's Anna V, and you, my friend, are listening to the All-American Wing Shooting Podcast. I am a hunter, conservationist, mom of 2 girls I have raised in the outdoors, and a proud owner of a truck full of dogs. My passion is guiding you to confidence, sharing in tradition, and celebrating the true meaning of success in the field. Here we go. So let's talk about this intriguing baseball career.
Yeah, so my great-granddad played baseball from the late 1890s all the way to 1917. And so actually it was a baseball trade that moved our family upriver on the Illinois River. He got traded to Joliet Standards, and that's where I was born. But, you know, you got to understand, baseball was pretty immature at that time. I mean, it was not well organized. And he spent his entire career in the farm system. You know, we heard tales of him being able to go pro back at the time, you know, but he was on a team. I mean, they played the Chicago White Sox, you know, and he had the only RBI and he was 2 for 3 in the game, and he was quite a player. And so we're proud of that heritage. It's important to me. I didn't play baseball. I played football, but, you know, just for somebody in your family to have that kind of legacy, it's just an amazing blessing. So we just absolutely love it. It's great stuff, and we're real proud of it.
Oh my gosh. I loved reading about your family online. And, you know, there probably isn't a whole lot, you know, endless stuff, but I got lost in it.
Well, hey, I'm kind of a history nerd myself. I mean, that's what I love about waterfowling history. You know, he kind of pulled me into waterfowling history, and I started to understand that. But, you know, as I get older, and I mean, family history is important. You know, what we're doing now as hunters, you know, whether you know it or not, believe it or not, you're setting a legacy for somebody. It could be your children. It could be, you know, a young neighbor, you know, whatever. You know, you're really setting a legacy. So it's important what you do. And, you know, your legacy could be dogs. Your legacy could be duck calls. Your legacy could be shotguns. You know, my legacy happens to be decoys. And so
I can't pick one. I want to do all of it.
well, you know, I got to tell you something, and this is just a kind of a sidebar, but I got thinking this week about women in decoys, okay?
Yeah.
And there have been some women over the years that have made decoys. Most of them carved like decorative decoys. But here's the thing. I've been in this 42 years, and I've yet to see a woman make her own rig of decoys, you know, to hunt with. You know, so for example, maybe like a dozen or 2 dozen teal decoys to hunt with and go out and shoot teal over. I mean, I haven't seen it.
I'm going to come to Pat Gregory boot camp.
Hey, we need it. We need it. I'm in. You know, I mean, honestly, at my age, I'm retired, and I help a lot of people get started carving, and I love to see people take their decoys. It's kind of like taking your dog hunting.
Yeah.
I love people to see people take their decoys out in the marsh, and when that first flight of teal or mallards or whatever comes in, boom, you dump one, and you're just like booyah. You know, it's awesome, man. By the way, I think enough of our dogs need to swim through great decoys. You know, none of this plastic garbage, right? These dogs need, you know, hey, they work so hard for us. We work with them a lot, and I just love that our dogs get to swim through nice decoys.
You just upped my game so big, because I would say I'm pretty new and rookie on the waterfowl world, and I've been very blessed to get to go to amazing places that kind of took care of us. Yes, I have a dog, and I've been in the gun world, and I started as a shooter. I was a shooter that really loved the dogs more, but was a better shooter than dog trainer, but I loved it, you know?
Sure.
And then I got into the craftsmanship of the waterfowl world, which isn't in the upland world, you know.
Right.
So people don't know that I was raised in like really high end residential construction, and my dad had a millwork company, and I had a free for all in a massive shop with everything. We didn't have a CNC, but like we could build anything, right?
Nice.
So, um, yeah, like I was the kid that got a pickup truck and a Lowe's cart at 16. It was like free labor, you know? And
Sweet.
yeah, and so the more I've gotten into it, I really loved waterfowl over upland because not only did you have the relationship with your dog, but you had to have a solid gun. And of course, like in anything that we do in the hunting world, our guns are always, such a prize. Um, but there was the connection with the birds. The first time that I saw somebody call in a group of birds, and then like you just had to it was negotiation after negotiation. And I was like, this is the coolest thing I have ever seen. They're come in, change their mind, go out, call them back, and it was
Yeah.
such a teaser. And it was actually at it was snow goose camp, but mallards came in and I got to see it, and we couldn't shoot them, so that they just flew right over our blind and like kept going. I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, well, of course, my connection to that was the call and
Sure.
the craftsmanship of the call. And so I mean, I am such an amateur collector. I was pretty much the coolest decoys at the DU banquets. I just love them. I love them, having them around the house. And
Yeah.
then when I saw your post on Facebook, I was like, I don't know this guy, and he's probably gonna think I am some crazy chick, but I am so obsessed with your posts,
Hey,
and so
man.
I want to talk to you. And then, of course, you had a crazy schedule yourself, going to
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the trade shows and
yeah. Hey, I'm
signing
flattered.
autographs.
I'm flattered, but what you just explained is truly the heartbeat of every waterfowler. I mean, there's so many draws and attractions that pull you into this game.
Hmm.
It's amazing, and um, there's so many ways you can go to enrich your experience. At my age, I mean, I had my first hunt in 1972, right? And so at my age, I look for things that are going to enrich my hunting experience, right? It could be dog training. It could be, decoys. It could be duck calls. It could be shooting a vintage shotgun. It could be dressing old school. I mean, there's all kind of things, and there's a plethora of things that could really enrich your experience, because, hey, time is precious. We don't have oodles of time. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, at 67, I'm kind of looking down the barrel of my next 10 years, and I want to have quality experience. I want to have those with great friends and great people. And I've been really blessed to be able to do all that in many directions. And so the decoy piece is kind of it's kind of the glue that kind of pulls us together. I've got to meet, you're one of them. I've got to meet so many great people because of decoys. It blows my mind. I'm like, really, Lord, decoys? I mean, why couldn't I do something cool like Harley Davidson's or something, right? But no, it's decoys. And I'll say this: I've met so many great people. It's taken me all over this country to go hunting, all over decoys, and we're still doing it. And so, hey, this is another part of my journey. This is another part of your journey. I've heard people say, well, I'm just getting started. Well, okay, got to start somewhere. And so, um, you know, my encouragement is to look for things that are going to enrich your hunting experience, right? Don't just go out there and make a pile or, you know, um, whatever, just do things that are going to make it enjoyable for you and the people that you're with. I'll give you an example. So this week, um, I don't have a gunning dog anymore. I had an amazing one, but I have so many friends that have them. I mean, honestly, part of a duck club down the Illinois River, and if I had a dog, their dogs have to stay home.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, waterfowling in a blind, you only get to use one dog. But anyways, I get to hunt with a ton of amazing dogs. I mean, they're like my kids. And this Friday we go out and train them. I'm kind of the gopher. I launch the dummies. I bring hand carved decoy. I mean, I'm kind of the gopher of the bunch, and I'm the old guy that says, hey, you probably need to get the dogs out. They want to go out, but anyways, last week I had dinner with a couple of a dog that I got to hunt with, and she was a rescue.
Okay.
She was a GSP in a lab, and her owner is a biologist, trained biologist, and so I get to hunt with them. I hunt with this dog in her latter days, from probably age 11 to 14, and she just passed away. Okay. And one of the things we do in the waterfowling world that's getting real trendy is we make decoy urns. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
we make urns for the dogs. Okay. I made, her name's Abby. I've got a ton of memories about Abby.
Mm-hmm.
It's bringing tears to my eyes as I'm telling you this story. I mean, when I go out and carve her decoy, the amazing memories going through my head are just plentiful. But anyways, so I'm putting her ashes. I put them in a shotgun shell, a haul that Jason spent on a hunt. I put them in the decoy, and Abby made it to 14. She had like over 1,500 retrieves, and she was a rescue dog. That is just blows me away. I told Jason and Sue at dinner the other night what a blessing it is that dog had you as an owner. You gave that
Right.
dog a chance that it would not have had. And so, anyways, I got to finish Abby. We're going to finish her. We're going to put the keel on her. We're going to take her hunting. So she's going to go out with us in the fall. We're going to throw her out in the water, and we're going to have great memories. We'll probably have a little prayer, maybe dump her ashes in the river, and we're going to have us a hunt, and so it'll be good for us. It'll be good for Jason. And,
That'll make me cry.
at, at this stage, that's where I'm at. At my age, like I said, I like good hunts like anybody else, but hey, there's joy in the journey. Don't
Yeah.
miss it. Right? There's joy in the journey. Don't
Oh
miss
my
it.
goodness. That is good stuff. And it has been a journey. My entire experience being in the outdoor industry has been new experience after new experience, and just the fact that I never said no. I've met the most amazing people that opened up an opportunity that there's no way that I could have known the reward that would have come from me just being obedient.
Right. Right. And, hey, go after it. I mean, um, life can be tough, life can be busy, and you need something that's gonna feed your soul. And I'll be honest with you, I just love the whole thing of women getting more engaged in the outdoor. I love that. We've got a young lady that shoots with us. We shoot sporting clays every Saturday. I got a great group of guys and women, and so Mark started bringing Jane, and Gary brought Chelsea, and Chelsea shot a 96. I mean, a 96. She's 23 years old. She's a school teacher.
Yeah.
And and they go hunting with me, and I just love that. We put, I don't know if are you familiar with the whole layout boat thing in
Yeah.
waterfowling?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we do that too. That's crazy cool. But we put Chelsea in a layout boat on the Mississippi River. Oh my Lord. It was amazing. That girl, took her a little bit to catch on, but as soon as she did, bing, bang, boom, she was just really, having a ball. And so, it's just so important, the experience we create for ourselves, and you got to be thoughtful about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I get to work with Delta waterfowl a little bit, and it's all about decoys.
What do you do
Delta
with
has Yeah, Delta has a great history of decoys, and so I get to help them. I've studied their history, and we go do a hunt every year where we get 12 carvers, and they donate decoys. Like this year, we picked wood ducks, and we're going to California, out north of Sacramento, and we're going to float these hand carved wood ducks, and we're going to harvest wood ducks, and we're going to put those decoys in banquets
Yeah,
and raise money for conservation. And so, I don't know, man. Hey, stuff like that these days is really what drives me.
yeah.
Um,
Do you have an open weekend? I might have a location up your way.
well, hey, anytime. We've got there's five of us. We've got 475 acres on the Illinois River. It's beautiful marsh. It's a great place for a dog. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'll send your dog home tired. It's just a great place
Like
for a
she,
dog.
I think she woke up tired today. She's right here
Ah,
at my feet.
she's listening. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, your dog wants to go. I'll guarantee you, your dog
she
wants to go.
does. And I started in short hairs, and Ducks Unlimited, pretty much my local chapter, launched my entire shotgun career. Because I had started in pistol basics. I was teaching women gun protection. It was when we were having all of those crazy, scary moments of public shootings and stuff. And so my family is kind of like the Duck Dynasty family of deer and turkey in Georgia. And so there wasn't really it wasn't focused on tradition, but tradition was there. And it seems like everything that we ever did when we had family get together was like 22 shooting and things like that. And so it was just ingrained in me. I thought that was normal. That like every hunting family lived like that kind of.
Yeah,
And so working with Ducks Unlimited, they wanted me to start helping get women more involved in our chapter because it was, an older group of men, and they're like,
sure.
we need to create this future, so we need families here. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
committee was a younger group of guys with little kids. So they came to me one day and they're like, will you help us? And I'm like, sounds like fun, And it was like some people I knew from high school. So I was like, yeah. I had no idea what I'd committed to. I sure didn't know that through that, yes, that my entire life would change. And I had wanted a short hair for like 5 years. And then I got into that one event. We hosted an event and we had a waiting list of ladies. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Y'all got to get me help. And I got the most amazing shotgun coach. And I sold out to it. That's when I started shooting sporting clays. And I was running the hunting tournaments with the
Nice.
dogs. Oh my gosh, you want to talk about fun? There's nothing that I've ever done that's been more fun than those hunting tournaments. And so I just kind of fell into it, and I had the attitude of the short hair snob and bought into the short hair cult.
Oh, wow.
And I got dunked in South Dakota at an event, and I saw what a lab could do outside of the testing world. Because the
Sure.
only labs that I'd really been introduced to in Georgia was a hunt test dog, and I was like, that ain't what I do. And so I just didn't understand the complexity and the versatility of a gun dog.
Sure.
And when I went to South Dakota, I was like, my short hair can't do that.
That's
And
right.
so then it wasn't but 3 weeks I found myself in Wisconsin at a lab kennel, fell in love with the lab, just adopted her right out of the kennel, and the rest is history. And I was like, I still have my two short hairs. So you talking about Abby makes me really sad because my first dog, she'll be 11 this year,
Oh, wow.
next month. And
Wow.
it's hard because, I haven't done as much upland hunting with her over the last 2 years because of my introduction into waterfowl. But I'm just so grateful for the journey and doing
Yeah.
it all. And I'll take them, and they'll get their little turns. But this past season, Taterbug, our youngest daughter, she's 11, and she got her short hair when she was 3. And her and Dolly, they have done all kinds of crazy stuff. And this was the first year that she could shoot and run her dog. And that
Wow.
was like the most amazing thing. I didn't even carry a gun one time the whole day, and it was probably my favorite upland hunt I've ever had.
Well, hey, that's incredible because that's your legacy. That's what
Yeah.
that's what she's gonna one of these days she may already be, she's gonna be telling, about her mom and how do you want to be remembered? I mean, I hey, I'm big on I hate to call it mentoring, but let's use that term. But everybody's talking about how we're going to get the next group of waterfowlers, the next group of upland game. Hey, we're it.
We are
We
it. And I love
we
that you
make it
bring this up.
happen. It's don't look around. Take a kid hunting.
Yeah.
Take a lady hunting. Take a new person hunting. I mean, we got all the good hunting spots, us old people, and so take them. And get these kids engaged because it's kind of like me looking back at my great granddad and all he meant
Right.
to my life. That's how your kids and the people you work with are looking at you right now. Are you going to be a good memory or not? And
You
so
can't learn it from
um,
books. You got to
hunters
learn it
have
from a mentor.
hunters have a great opportunity that I think to engage people and to be those great memories and to be those great influences in a time when in culture things are tough. And so let's do it. There's no way to get her done but to get her done.
So my shooting mentor that I've had for a while, not my shooting coach, but another mentor, we're doing a podcast on Tuesdays, and
Oh,
he
nice.
talks about tribal knowledge. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
things that you can't find in a book that you just gotta, it just comes up in conversation. And so
Sure.
we started this with Kevin on Tuesdays just to pass along tribal knowledge. And I got to thinking, I have two daughters, both of them have been involved. My oldest was the first female president of Ducks Unlimited at UGA.
Oh,
She won the
wow.
collegiate
Nice.
chapter award for Ducks Unlimited in the state of Georgia two times within her 4 years in college. And it's fundraising. Everybody's like, well, who cares about Georgia Ducks? Well, the money doesn't stay in Georgia through Ducks Unlimited, but Georgia's always ranking high on fundraising because we do have such a large amount of hunters here. And I'll never forget it. I started an SCTP team when she was in high school, and she was a horse kid, and she absolutely hated spending her only off day having to go shoot on a team. And I was like, you have to do it. Like, this is just what we do. And I just have to drag her along. And she didn't really love competition and sporting clays. That wasn't her thing. But that kid went to college, and the first season came around, and the guys invited her to go down to the Gulf for redheads. And she texted me, and she's like, Mama, thank you so much for teaching me to shoot. I rocked this hunt. I cleaned all the ducks. We cooked everything. And I'm like, heck yeah, kid. I told you.
Nice.
You got it. Like, DU is where it's at. In the collegiate world, they do have really strong programs. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
she just had a blast. And I will say,
Yeah.
like, she has found her future husband through Ducks Unlimited. That kid made the most out of
Nice.
you as a kid.
Nice.
So it's like
Nice.
it's a really funny story. How it did it launched my career. It's brought so many mentors into my kids' lives, and it's a great way to get involved. But you're right, like there are very few programs for women to have that kind of mentorship, and so I never had a female mentor before. So I started Women of Wing Shooting, and it took off really fast. And I was like, I didn't really expect that. And actually, Brad Heidel, who was at Delta Waterfowl, helped me so much.
Sure.
And still to this day, I talk to him on a regular basis. But I revamped that over the last year, and we're about to come out with it because there's such a need. And this is what I told Brad. I was like, I need to be able to mentor women where they are
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
and so we're taking advantage of the internet and building this
Sure.
great program to maybe not make masters of all the gun terminology and all that, but make people feel confident and take
Sure.
that fear of the unknown away.
Sure. Well, that's huge because I'll say, being the senior generation, hey, we're always looking for things that we can do with our adult kids. And so you get something like you help my daughter shoot and she goes shooting with me, I'm in. I just love, that, because the other thing we're seeing too, um, is a lot of foundations, like two of the courses, like our home course here, and then we shoot a course in Columbia, Missouri. Both of them were recently purchased by foundations, shooting sports foundations, right, to make this thing go. And a lot of it's targeted at youth, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just targeted at shooting in general. I mean, Midway USA is heavily
Mm-hmm.
involved in pumping money into that,
Yeah. The
and I
partners.
love.
What would we do without them? I mean,
Well,
honestly.
I've thumped Delta a few times. I'm like, we need to get behind these shooting sports programs, because guess what? Shooting's kind of fundamental to hunting. I mean, you
Yes.
can make all the duck hunters you want, but if they can't shoot, we got a problem. So, that's a big, um, it's a big important factor today in hunting, is shooting sports, and introducing these young ones, to shooting. I did Boy Scouts years ago, and let me tell you, those young ones, they wanted to shoot, and, but a lot of these kids came from the city. Maybe they didn't have it in their family. They'd say, well, Mr. Gregory, my dad didn't hunt. Well, you know what? My dad didn't either. So let's get it started. You be the change generation. And so, we've got a lot of opportunities. Actually, the shooting sports, is really, making a major significant move these days, especially in clays.
Yeah.
My wife Nancy and I graduated a little college in Michigan called Hillsdale College. They have world class shooting. They have a facility that the Olympic team works out at their shooting facility. They give scholarships, for shooting. They have active, teams in shooting. They have all Americans. It's just amazing. And so, the course we go to in Columbia, Missouri, we go there and it's amazing. You'll see, 10, 15, 20 teams show up in jerseys,
Yeah.
uh,
I got
men
one
and
right
men
now.
and women both,
Yeah.
which I just absolutely love. And so,
Trader
hey,
Joe's everywhere. She came home from state and just like left it out. I don't
sure,
think that she
sure,
was ready for her season to end at
yeah.
11. Yeah, she's a rookie this year.
Well, hey, tell her when how old is she?
11.
When it's college time, look at Hillsdale. They give scholarships. You
I'm
know,
not going to let her go that far away from home.
come on now.
No
Should be a good
way.
hand. Should be good hands. I'll take her hunting. She'll
Oh,
come home a
she
hunter.
will leave us in a heartbeat for that. Yeah. But yeah, I got away from the sporting clay world because I was so heavily involved with the hunting world.
Right.
And because of her, we jumped back into SCTP this year. And I can't stop talking about the family in Georgia of just the clay shooters in general, made up of, I don't know how many teams we have. I wish I knew all these stats off the top of my head. But we had like 400 kids at state. And
Sure.
no matter who you get squatted with, every parent is there to help. We had collegiate kids with rookie kids, and then the collegiate kids are helping coach them to not even on the same team, just wanting
Sure.
each of them to succeed. And it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
so amazing. You see all these kids, and I don't think anything about it because I grew up in a house full of guns and we all shot and all these things. So when you see all these kids, and everybody's got, golf carts and firearms and all the things, and the kids know their ammo combo with their gun based on the clay or the game or whatever more than most parents out there.
Sure. Sure.
It's mind blowing to
Oh yeah.
just see the responsibility that the kids can step up to when given the opportunity.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Kids are so, wanting responsibility, and obviously, handling firearms are the highest responsibility, in my opinion. But to teach them to do it properly. They want to do it. They want to succeed, and I just really like to break down those walls of, like my old Boy Scouts used to say, well, Mr. Gregory, my dad doesn't own a gun. That's okay. We can help you, you got to start somewhere. Maybe you're the first one in your family. I was the first one, male in our family to go to college. I was the first male in our family to hunt. And, somebody's got to start it somewhere. And that's where I think that's where you start your legacy, right? You start it. Now if you're fortunate enough to have it in your family, that's great.
Yep.
But it's difficult because, listening to you, Anna, you come from a family where it's just absolutely part of your DNA, the shooting, the hunting, and all that, and so it's sometimes it becomes difficult for those of us that are so heavily involved in it to understand that people, they don't have a clue, they don't understand it, they need education, they would love to do it,
They
you
don't
know.
need education. They need an experience. They
Well,
they need their heart touched. Because I took my grandmother on her last deer hunt because she was a deer hunter at
oh,
84 years old. My grandmother shot her last deer,
that's
and her
awesome.
health has declined over the last 3 years, drastically. But for me, I'm like, I have to trump Granny Jolly. I've got to be over 84. My last time sitting in a duck blind.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and I'll never be without a dog. Never will I be
Yeah.
without a dog.
Yeah. My buddy Doc, he takes his dad out in the duck blind. He's 90 years old. Takes him out every year. Shoots a duck. But hey, the other thing is we live in America, and we have a heritage of this stuff. And I'm not going to apologize for it. This is America.
Right.
We don't live in other countries that don't permit this, or it's not
Mhm.
culturally whatever. I'm just saying, living in America, we can do this, and we have a great heritage of it. We're proud of it, and come on board, man. I just I love that about this country. I love that about our right to bear arms. I love that about our hunting. And I love the fact that we just push back on all this pushback on things like that because hey, it's part of our heritage. It's who we are as Americans, and we're going to do it, and we're going to be good at it. And it's like I said, people say to me, they say, "Well, you're a duck hunter." I said, "Yeah, it goes back in my family 125 years.
I love that.
It's part of my DNA. It's part of my heritage, and I love that too. And it inspires me. Even hey, on the decoys, obviously having that family heritage is a huge inspiration for me.
Mhm.
It's what gets me out in the shop and keeps me going. Pretty common. People that have been doing this like 40 plus years, people get burned out. I've run into carvers and, oh, you're not carving anymore? No, I kind of got burned out. But, hey, I have an active rig of decoys that I use. I float them, I hunt them. My buddies, they get to pitch, hand carved decoys, and we've shot them. I've shot them. But
That kind of happened to me, and I realized what got in the way is that I let my career get in the way of my calling,
mm,
and my purpose work went away. It
sure,
was it was there, but I was allowing the activity to take priority over the purpose.
sure,
And
sure,
so this last year I was like, man, like this is such a privilege. And you're right, like I have so many friends in the gun world across the world, and to hear, especially my friends in the UK with within the shotgun world that I've worked in, lose their rights, lose their lead ammo privileges, all the things, and it's like we've got to share this in a way that's not I don't know, offensive, but at the same time where we spark something within the hunters to where they protect their own tradition. It's like your tradition is so important to the big scheme of things because it's like 50% of licensed hunters don't even vote.
Yeah, that's sad, but hey, be the example. That's, I mean, be the example. We have an amazing privilege in this country. We have an amazing privilege to buy a duck stamp. We have an amazing privilege to get a license every year. Probably not unlike you. I buy multiple licenses. I mean, I'm in lots of states
Hmm.
and do lots of hunting and glad to be part of it, glad to donate. Thank you for letting me use your resources. Thank you for, the privilege of being able to hunt on your water.
Hmm.
And um, you know, being, and I want to sound cynical, but being kind of a little bit on the other side of that hill, I kind of look at it this way. I got 10, the next 10 years are the best years of my life. I mean, I'm not getting any younger. My whole group is not, people started having health problems and all that, but hey, we got a buddy. He's a veteran. He's got Parkinson's. We take him, we stand him up, we put him in a duck blind. We're going to take it. It's just kind of like your gun dogs. I always say, take them right to the end, treat them with dignity and take them right to the end, let them do what they love to do. And so, only in America, I mean,
So
hey,
true. It is so true. Only in America.
and so be the example to the world. That's what I say. It just because other countries do stuff, uh, it doesn't mean it's right, but we're built on freedom here. We fought for freedom. People die for freedom, and we are the beacon in this world. So, anyways, I just think even in our own little ecosystem of the hunting world, you know, um, conversations like this are important because you know you're you're kind of you're kind of calling me and saying, "Hey, what's important to you? What
Yeah.
what what things enrich your hunting experience? What's your niche in the ecosystem here?" And mine happens to be decoys, but that has just led to so many different amazing things. Oh my. I could do a week on it.
Well, we can. We can do this
Well,
every day. And this is the perfect example of what motivated me to start a podcast. Was I traveled the country. Like I could start season in upstate New York and end it in California and go everywhere in between. And I met so many amazing people along the way that the world didn't know about. And I'm like, it's really cool to have the celebrities in the industry and the importance that they hold or whatever, but the hunting community is ran by people that are just sticking to their little bubbles. And I was like, I want the people that are tempted by the industry to see what's really like behind the scenes and how
yeah,
their strengths will play such a significant part. And so that, like, I was like, I'm going to start this podcast. We're going to talk about the heart of the American hunter because it's everybody.
it is, and it's great to hear other people's stories. I like listening to other regional stories. I mean, um, being a student of decoys, I've studied decoys, and I'm talking old decoys all the way back to the beginning. I've studied, so decoys have like different regions. You've got a history of decoys out on the East Coast. We've got one here in the Midwest. There's one on the West Coast. There's one in the South. There's one up north and in Canada. And so, but it's all about the people.
Hmm.
These decoys were like just tools that they built to at some point sustain life. I mean, a lot of these old timers built decoys. They were critical tools to put food on the table, and so that's a great piece of our history as waterfowlers is to understand that and to understand regional decoys. People ask me, well, why did they build these decoys on the East Coast? Because that's the ducks they were hunting. That's the ducks that predominantly flew that flyway. Here in the Mississippi flyway, we've got certain ducks It's the mallard, it's the pintails, and ducks like that that fly our flyways. So you're going to see a lot of decoys. So people built, those tools to sustain life, to contribute to their families, to contribute to their communities. And so
And for the
that's just
love of it, just for the love of it.
it's just so important. Well, and it's important, but it's always been about the people. It's
So
the
tell me
people.
this. On your
Oh,
string, did you keep the tradition of the lone goose?
um, so you mean, okay, I'm not tracking you. Hang on
The
here. Help
lone
me.
goose, because I read that that was the tradition that your great grandpa did. He always had
Oh,
a
single goose.
single.
Okay. Well, good catch.
Yeah.
Hey, good catch. That's amazing. I mean, not many people pick up on that, but so I do carve geese. I don't carve a lot of them. He didn't carve a lot of them. He may have only carved a dozen Canada geese over the years, although Illinois now is highly noted for Canada geese. We kill a lot of honkers in this state. Back then they didn't.
Huh.
Back then all those geese flew from the north and went all the way down to southern Illinois. And so my great granddad, he'd only put out a single goose in his rig. He'd flank a Canada goose is what you're talking about with his rig. And I thought, well, man, with all the geese we have around here, why didn't he carve more geese? And so I asked Art, and he's the one that told me. He said, "Yeah, we didn't kill hardly any Canada geese. That obviously that's changed. Now we hunt cornfields. We've got plastic goose decoys, but I've got an old goose to answer your question. I've got an old goose. I call her Old Faithful. She's a she's a sweetheart. I've broken her neck off about 5 times and fixed it. I broke her tail off a couple times. One time I pitched her and threw her and her keel popped off. I mean, the poor girl's a wreck, but
Yeah.
I put her back together. I still have her. And one of my favorite images ever, about 15 years ago, I had the great opportunity to work with ESPN on what they called their duck trek. And what happened is they would come down from the north and it was a website thing. They would put stories on their website of people, not celebrities, people, all the way down the flyway. They'd start up in Canada, they'd go all the way down to Louisiana,
Yeah.
and my buddy knew James Overstreet, one of the photographers, and said, "Hey, I got a buddy that hand carves decoys." And so they came, they stayed here at the house. We shot photos in the shop. Then we went down to the duck club, but he got a picture of Old Faithful in the water, and she looks majestic. I mean, she looks so amazing. I've had people look at it and go, "That's not a real goose," you
Really?
know. And she
We'll
just
have to
and
share that. We'll have to share
well,
that online.
I'll post it up and I'll tag you on it just because it's special to me and it's got history with me. I mean, each one of my decoys in my own personal gunning rig, they're like my kids. Each one has history. They're not for sale. I early on I decided that I would make some hunting decoys every year, and I set them back for my kids so they didn't get sold. And so when it comes time, when Dad's gone, the kids are going to get my gunning rig, and that's important to me.
Right.
And so, anyways, I'll post up Old Faithful for you and tag you because, man, she is a sweetheart and I love her to death. And James Overstreet's an amazing photographer.
That's so fun. Well, you got to have those memories, and I love that I've documented so much of. It gets to be a pain when you have to create content, but because my kids were involved, I I have so many memories of things that we did together because we had to have a photographer there. And it's the best thing in the world. Even now, Tater will go back through almost her entire life, because she got her bird dog at 3 years old. And it's awesome to have those pictures. Because
Oh,
when you're in the action, you're not taking pictures, like you're living. And
yeah.
all you would have is the memories. But I love having these pictures.
Well, forgive me, Anna, but these days we have no excuse. You got a
Right.
camera in your pocket, right? I mean, I've got a photo of my great granddad in a duck skiff that he built, setting his decoys out on the Illinois River in 1920. Now, it's not like he just pulled out his cell phone or his buddy pulled. I mean, what did it take to get that photo in 1920? They had to be pretty intentional about that. And so I just, I'm kind of the photographer of our group. Not that I'm a trained photographer or anything, but hey, we're making memories one hunt at a time. And it does my soul good to see my friends, to see images with my friends and my kids and my family, out in the blind with me. And this is what we did. This is, this is our journey. This is, these are the times we had. And, like I said, you get my age and time is precious.
Yeah.
You young like you guys, you guys are invincible and you don't worry about time, but you get my age and yeah, the clock's ticking and you start thinking, hey man, I want to be intentional about what I do. I'm going to take pictures. I was totally against social media at first. I had two friends and they said, Pat, you need to get on it. And I said, I don't want to get on it. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to do all that. And they said, well, because I do a lot of waterfowling history.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got old images, I've got old duck camp pictures, and I know the history and I write about it and all that. They're like, you got to share this.
Yeah.
And Ann, I got to tell you, I've been so blessed because I'll give you an example. When I did the Delta history up at the Delta Marsh, I actually had people contact me that saw those pictures online and said, hey, that's my grandfather. I've never seen that picture. And I'll tell you, it just blew me away. And so there's so much good history in what we do that it needs to be shared. It needs to be preserved, and even at the micro level, for you and for me, when we go on a hunt, we got to be intentional because, hey, I'd be all over taking pictures of your daughter and her dog and her shooting and all that because you're going to look back on that one day and go, that was an amazing time.
Oh, we have had
And
so much fun in Illinois. Tater hasn't hunted there, but we'd have to drive from the far tip all the way through to get to Wisconsin, right?
no,
Um, because we would go back and forth to Wisconsin about 6 months out of the year. We would be there, so we were always having to hit that. And actually, my first nationals running UFTA was at Wren Lake.
oh really?
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
yeah.
And so Wren Lake was our place. The lady that runs that place, I don't know if she's still there, but she was so awesome. She knew all of us. She knew our dogs' names. She would check on us. Like, it was so great to use that as our stopping point
Yeah.
because it was easy for a truck and trailer full of dogs, and they were just set up so well for us and super supportive of our lifestyle too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Illinois, hey, I feel very fortunate to be in Illinois. It's a great hunting state. It's got a great history, great legacy, all the way up and down the Illinois River, all the way down to Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois is just amazing. Got amazing resources down there, and hunting down there is a way of life. I mean, people just, it's like I said, it's part of their DNA. And so, I'm thankful that people get to engage kind of these platforms, I mean, here you are from Georgia going through Illinois, engaging, with your dogs and your outdoor sporting stuff and all that. And the
And
beauty
then
of it
I
is
still found you on Facebook.
you get to meet people. That's the thing. I mean, you're going to remember those people. Hey, I do these days because I've been 6 years retired. I do the Delta Expo we'll be down in Oklahoma City this year. And, then we do the Wisconsin Expo in August.
Mm-hmm.
I got to speak, I got to speak at the Mississippi Flyway Council meeting. Here's a summit of all these biologists making all these big decisions, and they wanted to hear about decoys. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like, wow, that's cool. So we had beer and pizza, and we talked an hour for decoys, and I think a few people got inspired. Matter of fact, they told me this is cute. They told me going into it because it was all duck people really, but it's beyond that. And the guy that set me up doing this, he says, "Now I'm going to tell you something. There's a group of women in this group that do shorebirds, and I just want you to know that because I was all prepared to talk about ducks, but I engaged them, and it was amazing, and I was kind of like I'm telling you today. I was encouraging them. I was like, we need women to carve shorebirds. I mean, shorebirds it's like an untapped resource in the outdoor world. We have a history of shorebird carving here in the United States, and we need people to do it, And so I'm thumping all these people. I'm going, what are you waiting for? Well, where do I get started? Okay, we'll help you get started, but we need people to do that. And there's just so much to this outdoor arena that people can plug into. It's awesome, but it takes conversations like this,
Mm-hmm.
kind of get inspired, to kind of get the wheels rolling. And then the next time you talk to somebody, you go, I just talked to a guy that was talking about that, type of
Yeah.
thing. And you pass it on, and somebody gets inspired, and the next thing you know, they're doing it. So, I don't know. This is a great time to be fired up about this stuff. It's a great time to be inspired by it. Um, you know, uh, I'm not big on canceling history. I'm big on celebrating history. I mean, we need to be thankful for our forefathers and those people that went ahead of us to pave the road. I mean, we're all beneficiaries of what they did, the good work that they did. Like in the conservation world,
Yeah.
we need to support those folks. We need to be their biggest cheerleaders because they're fighting the good fight of habitat, of, duck production, just all this stuff. And so, hey, man, you can't do everything, but find out what you're passionate about. If there's some touch point, like I'll give you an example. I do some conservation work. Here in the Mississippi Flyway, we have the largest concentration of lesser bluebills in the world. And on the Mississippi, every March we band them. We set traps, we band them. It's phenomenal work. We love it. This year they were putting geolocators on canvasbacks. I mean, just the coolest stuff. And hey, we look for volunteers. We take volunteers. We have people come that, some are hunters, some are not. Some are just conservation people. Not everybody gets to hold a live duck and put a band on it and release it back into the Mississippi River. That's an amazing experience. And
Yeah.
so there's just so many good experiences out there. You got to find them. You got to talk to people and figure out where they're at. But, there's something in the outdoors for everybody. It's
Yes, and it's just find your strength. What gets you going? There is
sure.
a place for you, and we need these people. That's what I
Oh,
tell everyone. Like, the best way to get involved is show up at your local organization, your local chapter, and just say, "This is what I have to offer," and they're never going to tell you no.
right, right, right. I
Yeah.
mean, um, state organizations, local organizations are always looking for help.
Hmm.
They generally have something you can volunteer for. I mean, we have these magnificent resources here in the United States. We have beautiful WMAs. We have beautiful refuge system. Our duck club borders Chautauqua Refuge. It's a 4,400 acre refuge that was chartered in 1933 for ducks. That's
Yeah.
all it does.
Wow.
It's to feed ducks, during the flyway. We have multiple here on the Illinois
You
River. We have
talked about
multiple.
um, that the benefit of helping them uh, conserve habitat actually helps. Nine. It was like 99 other species or something. It was like an astronomical number. Maybe it was a massive number of other species that nobody ever talks about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, it all is part of, the ecosystem. It all adds up. I would even say like specific to duck hunting right now. Duck hunting is a great sport to be in right now. Our duck numbers are strong. Hey, I've followed when I did my history research on Delta. What it was is I did significant research on conservation all the way back to the early 1900s, all the way to today. And our conservation, our management of habitat and game was not always pretty. There are times we struggled, but we learned from it, and we had good people in place. We relied on science, and it turned.
Yeah.
And we're in a real good time right now, where ducks and geese are plentiful.
I
We're
love that
actually.
you bring this up because just last week I was having this conversation with JC, my oldest, and I was talking about this cute raccoon or something. She was like, "No, they are
Yeah,
not cute. You are not
yeah,
going to love raccoons. They are at the top of the predator for the turkey. If you want to think something's cute, go get a pet turkey."
yeah,
And it was so funny because she's 22 lecturing me,
yeah,
about
yeah.
predatory animals. And she
Ducks too,
actually,
by the way. Ducks too. Raccoons are
yeah,
significant
and
predators for nests. They
her,
they
um,
uh,
her
they like
job
ducking.
is she writes ag policy for our governor at the state, at the Capitol. And so I have loved that the influence that's like she was part of the NYLC at PFQF when she was in high school. And so she got to work directly with the Potterfields. And I can see that now coming out in her career. All those seeds that were planted when she was young, and she may not even realize how it has, molded her mentality. And she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Kemp's finishing up his last year and stuff after that, but she's like, I don't want to be part of the ag world because of the ag and conservation world, how they overlap. It's just been so important
Yeah.
to her.
We're in the thick of that here in Central Illinois. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in significant ag. We're in significant. We have two rivers. We've got the Illinois and the Mississippi. And anytime you have those type of habitats and all that ag, I mean, it can be a double-edged sword. I mean, ag can have a negative impact on wildlife at times, and we got to be smart about that. But it's also an amazing, just habitat to be involved in. I mean, all the waste, for example, all the waste grain, when all these honkers come down from the north, all the waste grain from all the corn. I mean, our cornfields are just loaded with honkers going down the flyway, and they're getting fed. They're getting fed. Nothing goes to waste. To me, that's the beauty of God's kingdom, is nothing goes to waste. They're like all this waste grain, these geese are munching on it all the way down the flyway. In our club, our duck club, we're, we're natural feed, so we're all moist soil plants. Well, we feed ducks. They eat that stuff all the way down the migration and all the way coming back. I mean, ducks are feeding on our property, coming back. And so, sometimes I think we're a little asleep at the wheel on stuff like that. I mean, that's so amazing, but people just around here, you just look up, oh, there's some ducks flying. Okay. Yeah, they're
Oh
probably
gosh, I
going.
mean, like I'm getting out the camera. The geese are here. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
laying in bed at night because we have a big backyard and 5 ponds back here, and I mean it could be dark, and I'll start hearing them. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're here, and it's
oh, yeah.
just so exciting because most people think they're a menace. And they can
Yeah.
be, but gosh, if you ever hunt them, I love being in the goose blind. I love it. And when you're in California, I hope you get if you haven't already, enjoy some California specs. That's
Oh, yeah.
amazing with the
It
rice
is.
fields
It
out
is.
there. Oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
think they're better.
My buddy's a rice farmer out there, Mike Cole, and we shoot specs on his ponds, and the pintail limit's going to 3 this year, so we're pretty excited about that. So hopefully we're going to shoot some wood ducks, get that out of the way, and then go pintail hunting.
Yeah.
And then um, we're going to Texas for early teal again. We're going down to, I don't know if you know Steve Biggers from Rocky Creek Retrievers. Steve's a trainer, and he's got an amazing place down in El Campo. It's like um,
Oh, yeah.
if if you listen to Ramsey Russell,
Yeah.
um, it's the blue wing capital of the world. And so we went down there last year. Oh my, it's amazing. It's all flooded rice. But anyways, um, hey,
I'll
I'll
be
take
in
him.
Louisiana for early teal. I want to host some ladies
Nice,
down there. Yeah.
nice, nice. Yeah, nice. Well, hey, that's the beauty of waterfowling, right? I
Me and
mean,
little
there's
Ramsey
it's
will have
so
to tag team each other and see where we're crossing paths this year.
well. Hey, I'm in. I'll be somewhere. I mean, we hunt the Illinois River. We hunt Green Bay. In October. I love going to Wisconsin.
Me,
Green Bay is an amazing resource. And when the ducks come through, that's the other thing. So cool to watch these ducks migrate. You know, like one day there's no ducks on Green Bay,
yeah.
and overnight there's like 80,000 ducks come in, and they're everywhere. And to see these birds come down the flyway is just so amazing.
There's
Um,
nothing like sunset um, scouting.
oh,
It's
oh yeah.
just so magical.
Well, hey, I haven't found anything about waterfowling other than maybe getting my boots stuck in the mud. But other than that, I tell you, I love it all. I love the scouting. I love, the breakfast. I love the sunrises. I love ducks coming into my decoys. I love time with my friends and family. I love lunch. You know, I love, and when those, holy smokes, when like we have early teal season by us,
Hmm.
and this is going to be it's a detailed thing, but it's an amazing thing. So in the morning, the sun's in the east. We don't get this, but when the sun comes around the west and those blue wings come around front and bank, and you see the blue and that green light up,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, it's one of the most beautiful sights for a waterfowler I've ever seen. You get 12, 15 blue wings bank and the sun hits those wings. I mean, that's another thing, like you were talking about earlier. What brings waterfowlers back? That
Hmm.
to me, it's stuff like that. And in the layout boat, having, bluebills coming, they don't even see you. You're laying down and they're coming in about 2 foot off the water, and you talk about get your heart pumping. Oh my Lord. It's amazing. And so for an old guy,
I have to do that.
well, let me tell you, that's a life changer. I always caution people on layout hunting. It's not a dog sport because, I mean, you can take a dog in the tender boat,
Yeah.
but we generally net everything. But
Right.
anyways, you can take a dog, but it's not really a great dog experience, but it's an amazing waterfowling experience. And the beauty of it is it's just you out there.
Hmm.
You're out there. You call the shot. You call when you don't. I mean, and those ducks, you know, I think Mark Ronger said it. He was the head of the Mighty Layout Boys. He said, it's the last thing a duck never sees, is a layout boat. The last thing a duck never sees, because you're just laying down. You sit up and they're like, whoa, and they're
Yeah.
banking and flipping, and it's amazing. So those are the kind of things that just kind of keep me inspired, keep me engaged. And, hey, um, I played high school football and college football. I got old. My knees are a wreck, but I'm going to do it as long as I can, as long as I can walk. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get in the layout boat. I'm going to get in the duck blind. I'm going to hunt teal. I'm going to hunt geese, as long as I can do it. And when the time comes when I can't, I'll probably just carve them and enjoy them.
Well, I appreciate this time with you, and I have to say I've had this saying that I'll always hunt with my favorite gun, and there's no excuse to hunt with an ugly dog. And now I've had to add that there's no excuse to hunt with ugly decoys too.
That's right. You need to think about your dogs. Your dogs need to hunt with the best decoys. Well, and I'll just tell you, last thought. I've got pictures of our dog swimming through the decoys. And forgive me. I know I'm going to hurt some feelings there, but plastic decoy makers. But when I see a dog swimming by a plastic decoy, I'm out. When he's swimming, yeah, I love our dogs too much to make them swim through plastic decoys. So I've said it. They can hate me, but hey, when I can make my own, I'm going to do it.
Well, I always stick to people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
So now we're sharing. I'm educated. I can't wait to have the experience and say, now I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Pat. You are welcome to come on anytime.
Okay, dear.
I know the people are going to love it. And if anybody gets a wild hair and wants to learn about decoy carving or collecting, Mr. Pat goes all over to all different types of trade shows, and he's very active on his Facebook. So we welcome you to share your history, and we appreciate the fact that you take the time to do so.
Well, hey, thanks again for having me, and keep up the good work.
The dawn's finally breaking as I leave this sleepy town. The sun is slowly rising and the fog is on the ground.